안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. So the title of the paper is the coordinating role of ArtsKorea, an African master heritage. But before I go into the paper proper, I would like to introduce the instruments we brought from Ghana. We came in from Ghana. You all have the maps of Africa. Can you locate Ghana? Then you look to the right of Ghana, you see Nigeria. Yes. So I'll start with these instruments we brought from Ghana. And I'll call on Misono Amu to show them to us one by one. There is the Atenteben, which you have seen so far in the recitals and at the concerts. Yes, is that the original? Because there's the original and there's the modern one. Let's start with the original. Oh, okay, it's in the exhibition, so you can see it later. It's not much different from this. In fact, you will mistake them if you don't know the minute differences between both. But that is the original, and this is a development from the original. The difference is that the original has no, like the Philippine instructor talked about the bamboo flutes from Philippines. That the original has no specific pitch or range, but this has the modern one. It's a B flat flute. Then you have.
계량악기가 지금 이거는 계량악기고요. 원 악기는 지금 전시대로 가지고 있는데 원래 필리핀에서 마찬가지처럼 그렇게 피치가 정확하거나 그런 건 아니지만 요즘에서 이렇게 많이 쓰는데 B 플랫 부분에 맞춰서 계량합니다.
You have the Odruja. There's also an original, and then there is the developed version. That is the original, played by the traditional people. You can see the shape. This is just a decoration because it has some religious and ritual effects on the playing. The modern Odruja, yes, for convenience, has been fashioned that way. It's also in B flat. You have the Odrujava. That is an invention and it is in F. Then you have, of course, we talked about the Atenteben original and the modern, the Odruja and the Odrujava. Now you have another range of musical instruments from Ghana, the Intahira. They are horns. Originally, they were made from elephant tusks. You know elephant tusks? Yeah. But now, because they are so scarce and expensive, they now use cow horns to make them. And they are also, they're used either as solo instruments or in an ensemble, you know, and they're used for very important occasions, especially for chieftaincy and such big ceremonies.
중요한 인물들, 치프들이 드나들 때 이제 쓰는 악기가 중요한 역할을 하고 있다고 합니다.
Thank you very much. And now, back to the Apele. Three of us are scholars, music scholars from the International Center for African Music and Dance in Ghana. That is where I suppose all the music of Africa is coordinated academically. And that's why I left Nigeria to go to Ghana to study music, the way it should be done under Professor Nketia. I'm proud to be Professor Nketia's student. And they also are.
교수 안토키아라는 교수 밑에서 이 세 분들이 지금 학문을 받고 있는데요. 그 가나 원래 나이지리아에서 오신 분인데 가나 쪽에서 공부를 하게 되는 이유는 거기에 모든 아프리카의 음악이 합리화되어서 그쪽에서 많은 연구가 이루어지고 있고 학자로서의 거기에서만 정말 그 아프리카 음악을 총괄적으로 공부를 할 수 있다고 합니다.
Now we'll listen to the sound of two music musical instruments which sound alike. The odruja in particular sounds like the akbele. This also, if you listen to it, if you don't know the instruments and you're not very used to them, you can mistake them for each other. But they're from different parts of Ghana and Nigeria. So let's listen to little clips of the Intahira and a little clip of the akbele.
아켈레하고 이런 악기들은 정말 잘 알지 못하면 소리가 비슷하게 들려서 똑같은 악기라고 착각을 할 수가 있다고 합니다. 완전히 다른 나라에서 그런데 나이지리아하고 가나에서.
I have chosen to talk about the akbele because of the importance, the people attached to it. It is an important instrument to the people. That's the Intahira, played in an ensemble, many of them together. Come and demonstrate how it is played. Then you can just show the playing position.
This is how it is held, and this is the mouth hole.
Okay, that's it. Put on the akbele. No, the other one. Okay, thank you. So you can imagine about 50 of that. Now listen to that. With your musical ears, you can distinguish between the sound, the quality. That is the akbele. It is, like I said, from Nigeria, from the southern part of Nigeria. If you take the map of Africa and look at Nigeria, have you seen Lagos there? Lagos.
레고스
That's Nigeria, West Africa. Have you seen it? That's Nigeria there.
다들 찾으셨어요?
You've seen Nigeria. Now if you look at the Lagos position and you move slightly to the right, you know there's a river. Where do you have shot?
레고스에서 조금 오른쪽으로 가면 거기 강이 하나 있는데
There's a river like that. As you can see, in the middle of the whole of Nigeria.
나이지리아 중앙에 강이 있거든요.
This instrument comes from this particular spot. There's Lagos there, and there's the Badon there. Okay, let me move it down a bit because it's closer to the delta. So let's say from here.
거기서 악기가 온다고 합니다.
The wide area from which it's called, it comes is now called Delta State. And you can see the delta, that's where the river branches to several parts. Now, the akbele is made from a gourd plant. It is not a tree, like was stated in the program. It is a plant, a creeping plant.
네, 이렇게 기어다니는 뭐라고 하죠? 호박 종류입니다.
There are varieties of the gourd that grow into trees, but this particular one is a plant.
몇 가지 밥 종류는 또 나무 이렇게 자라지만 이건 우리 밥처럼 이렇게 자라는 거예요.
When the fruit is ripe, is mature, that's how it looks. Of course, the plant, that's the end. And it's green. And it's harvested by the musician.
다 자랐을 때는 요 사이즈고 이렇게 생겼고요. 초록색이고 그리고 원래 저기 악사들로부터 이게 재배가 된다고 합니다.
Okay, you've seen the original, that's the photo.
네, 이게 뒤쪽에 있는 분들 한번 돌려서 보시고요. 그다음에 이렇게
Now the
나무를
fruit,
잘라내면 과일이라고 하네요. 과일을
the fruit
잘라내면
is cut that way and that way. Depending on the particular, every instrumentalist, they make their own instruments by themselves. You don't buy them.
네, 이거는 사는 게 아니고요. 각자 자기 악사들이 각자 만든다고 합니다.
So they cut there and cut there into this, and they get this.
네, 그거를 이제 잘라내면 이렇게 되겠죠.
The lengths, they don't. There's not much of a difference between them. You see?
네, 그렇게 잘라내면 그렇게 큰 차이는 나지 않습니다. 사이즈.
Just like depending on the player, because they're from different places, and yet they arrive at almost the same.
네, 어디서나 어느 나라에서 어떻게 뭘 하든 간에 다 어떻게 비슷하게 나온다고 합니다. 악기들이 어떻게 자르든 하든.
Now, from the bigger section that is left, they cut another piece.
네, 그 나무 이거를 이쪽을 잘라내면 요 큰 조각이 남죠. 큰 쪽에서 조금 더 잘라내서
Which they attach
예,
to
한번
make
더
the bell richer.
그러니까 트럼펫처럼 이렇게 있게끔 만듭니다.
You can see this has two,
그거는 두
and
개고,
this has one.
하나.
It's just as the maker wishes, just for the convenience of the maker.
Just decoration.
Not decoration, to reinforce the bell.
왜 트럼펫에서 그 벨이 앞에 있지 않습니까? 소리가 나가게 할 수 있는.
Because the material is very soft and fragile. Actually, after reinforcing it this way, they still wrap it with the skin of pig's tail, bush pig.
네, 이 악기가 아주 깨지기 쉬운 악기이니까 아주 얇고요. 그래서 이렇게 만들고 나서도 끝에 저기 가죽, 돼지 가죽 이렇게 담는다고 해요.
So, and they keep wrapping them up. Then inside, then playing. This is the mouth, the embouchure with which they play the instrument.
쥐구를 이렇게 깎아내고요.
You can see they're almost at the same position.
거의 비슷한 위치에 만들어집니다. 어떤 악사들이 만들어도.
So even when sometimes they wrap up to 3 pig's tail skins, but they still cut out the embouchure.
어떤 악기들은 3번이나 감는다고 합니다.
And that makes it last longer, just to make it last longer.
그냥 더 오래 안 깨지고 살아남기 위해 만들어요.
It is very fragile, but every musician, every appelle player has several in his bag. Usually they carry a bag, and they have several there, because if one breaks, they take another one, because of its fragile nature.
네, 그렇게 깨지기 쉬우니까 아펠레 연주자는 언제나 가방에 몇 개 넣고 다닌다고 합니다.
And that is because now there are not many bush pigs, and they cannot afford, so they just play them the way they are, without the covering.
네, 그러니까 부시픽이 많이 없기 때문에 이제는 그래서 많이 감지 않고요. 이제는 그냥 그대로 연주를 하는 경우가 많아요.
Every player of this instrument in the Anyocha area of Nigeria, where it comes, is very much respected. It is supposed to be a talent from God. Those people are supposed to have been specially chosen by God to play this instrument for Him, our heart.
아펠레 연주자는 아주 존경을 많이 받는 연주자들입니다. 왜냐하면 신이 선택을 해서 이 연주를 연주하게끔, 이 악기를 연주하게끔 하는 거예요.
The appelles functions, one, as a speech surrogate. It functions as a mass media instrument, and thirdly, it functions as a musical instrument. That is, it talks, it sends information, and then it makes music.
네, 이 악기는 3가지의 기능이 있는데요. 하나는 말 대신에 해주는 기능이 있고요. 그 다음에 또 텔레비처럼 이렇게 메시지를 보내는, 또 3번째로는 악기입니다. 음악을 만듭니다.
I'll just mention the few media functions. It convenes meetings of elders or any other social or traditional political group for the purpose of deliberating on issues of communal or selective interest. It convenes musical ensembles or dance groups for rehearsals and performances. It announces the death of important or elderly personalities in the town. It announces arrangements for communal cleanup. There's a special day, they say, everybody come out to sweep the streets. That is this instrument that announces it, and everybody comes out. And it also announces, as it announces, it stipulates fines. If you don't come, they will just come to the front of your compound and catch a chicken, and that's your fine. So it will announce the fine. And if you don't want your chicken or your goat to be taken, you come out and do what this instrument has asked you to do.
네, 하나의 뉴스를 전하는 악기로서는 여러 가지 역할을 하는데 하나는 주요 인물이 마을에 돌아가시거나 이렇게 어르신네들께서의 무슨 모임이 있다거나 회의가 있다거나를 알리는 기능을 하고요. 또 이렇게 마을 전체가 무슨 행사를 해야 되거나 하는 거를 알리는 것도 될 수 있고요. 또 연습 시간이다 하는 악사들을 불러내는 기능을 또 가질 수 있고요. 또 만일 이렇게 우리 왜 마을 청소를 같이 하지 않습니까? 그럼 그거를 해서 또 한 사람이 안 나온다 하면 그 벌금을 내는데 또 지정을 해줍니다. 모아서 마을 청소하게 한 팀이 안 나오면 한 집안이 안 나오면 그 닭을 한 마리 낚아채 가라든지 뭐 그런 기능을 합니다.
Now, as a speech surrogate, it talks. The people from the area from which it comes understand the language. It has specific tests which they understand. Once it talks, they hear. So usually it will be present. There's a little ceremony when you have a visitor. There's a little fruit called a small fruit. It's not an apple, but it's a small, very small. And you can't take it and throw like a sweet. No, you have to make a ceremony. You break it, pray to the gods, and break it into pieces, and everybody takes small pieces. It's a ceremony. So usually akpele is used to accompany that ceremony. Akpele is present for rites, puberty rites, all these rites, rituals, and communal worship. It's supposed to be a medium between God and man. We understand what we say. God is not supposed to understand our languages, so we talk through the akpele to God.
신하고 얘기를 할 수 있는 악기고요. 종교 의식이나 또 손님들을 모실 때의 그런 작은 콜라노트를 먹을 때도 그런 의식을 하면서 먹으니까 그 악기를 먼저 연주를 하고 의식 절차를 밟고서 먹게 되고요. 그리고 또 신이 인간의 말을 못 알아들으니까 대신 악기를 통해서 신과 얘기를 하는 겁니다.
It is used during festivals, you know, festivals, ceremonies, festivals, to accompany the big chief who is decorated, and the chief knows what it's talking, the people know what it's talking, so it tells you generally what is happening. It is used for war expeditions. Sometimes you hear this, the gentlemen just start coming out from their houses, there's trouble, they're going for war. Then it is used, okay.
네, 이 악기는 또 전쟁, 싸움을 시작할 때도 알리는 그런 전쟁의 하나의 그 요소로서 사람들은 이 악기가 무슨 얘기를 하는지 다 알기 때문에 들으면 어느 순간에 갑자기 남자들만 집에서 나가는 그런 경우도 있다고 합니다. 이 소리를 들었기 때문에 이제 무슨 일이 생겼구나, 나가자, 뭘 보호를 하거나 뭐 해야 되는 늘 얘기를 하는 악기라고 말합니다.
And for traditional dances, that's the musical function now. It is used in traditional dances, in the ensemble. It directs, it coordinates. You can call it the conductor of the ensemble. Because when it starts, the other instruments know what to do. Even the dancers know what to do. And when it's playing, if an ensemble without this is not, it's just regarded just one of those. But one with this, wherever you are in the town, you want to know what is happening. There's something important, something nice. You want to go and see. And people passing just keep coming. They forget where they were going, and they come in to come and be part of that ceremony.
음악적으로서는 이 악기는 춤에 반주하는 악기인데요. 악펠레는 그 악기가 그냥 시작함으로써 연주자나 춤추는 사람들이 뭐가 순서가 되는 줄을 안다고 합니다. 하나의 지휘자 역할로서 이 악기는 이렇게 신호를 주면 이미 모든 악기나 연주자, 춤하는 사람들은 저 춤이구나 해서 가고요. 또 무슨 페스티벌 내지는 그 앙상블에 악펠레가 없으면 그냥 하나의 무슨 누가 그냥 악기 장난치는 거고요. 그 악기가 있음으로 해서 그냥 자기가 무슨 큰 일을 보러 가야 되는데도 그 악기가 어디 있으니까 저쪽에서 들리면 모든 사람들이 바로 그쪽으로 모이기 시작한다고 합니다. 어디 가는 줄도 까먹고. 그래서 이 악펠레 악기의 중요성을 얘기를 하는 겁니다.
Now, in those days, before now, in the times of our fathers and our forefathers, only old men used to play akpele. only old men. And they're dying out. I started studying this instrument 9 years ago. And I found that the first person I met, the first instrumentalist, before I could go halfway with the study, he died. And then when I got your letter, by the time we got your invitation, I had written 2 papers on the appellate. Then I said, okay, let me go and brush up for the fresh information. And I went back to Nigeria to check the last person I studied. You know what I heard? He died 2 years ago. So I went back to the village, asked my father, asked everybody, and they said, oh, there are 1 or 2 people still there. So I had to travel, and there was an interesting revelation from the field trip. I found a young man now who plays the appellate.
아펠레를 연주하는 분들은 예전부터 있었던 분들이지만 지금은 현대 시대에서는 많이 없어졌고요. 이분도 자기가 9년 전부터 이 악기를 연습을 배우기 시작을 하면서 중간쯤 배우다가 그 선생님께서 돌아가시고 또 그 후에 이 학술회 때문에 또 오시게 돼서 다시 또 찾아갔더니 많은 선생님들이 이미 돌아가시고 했는데 나이지리아를 한 바퀴 돌면서 아주 젊은 사람이 다시 또 아펠레를 연주를 하는 걸 알게 됐어요.
So that is the young boy who plays appellate. He's admired now by his mates. You know, he has so many admirers and he has become so important because unlike the old men, he can travel. You know, because they are needed everywhere. So and they are very few. So they come to look for him from far and wide. And he can travel as long as you pay for his transportation. You sew a dress for him, like that dress is wearing there. And then you provide other things. You don't have to pay him. Because when he starts performing, people will, you know, the custom in Africa, when you're doing well, they go and put money on your pocket. So they give him plenty of money. He doesn't, but just make him a dress and give him transportation and he will be there.
네, 아펠레 연주자가 많이 없기 때문에 아주 소수이기 때문에 그리고 너무나 중요한 역할을 하고 있으면서 많이 사람들이 찾게 되는데요. 많은 존경을 받고 있고 이 젊은 분은 자기는 돈은 안 받고 그냥 쭉 한 바퀴 돌려서 다시 앞으로만 보내시면 됩니다. 그 마을에서 부르는 사람이 그냥 그 연주곡을 준비해주고 장소만 마련해주고 오게끔만 하는 그 교통비만 주면 자기는 연주를 하는데 그 대신 너무나 중요한 역할을 하고 있기 때문에 그 사람들이 아프리카의 그 전통이 그 사람이 잘하고 있을 때는 언제나 머리에 돈을 얹어준다고 해서 그 사람 많이 벌기 때문에 돈을 안 줘도 된다고 합니다.
Excuse me, is it possible to make a question here?
To make a question?
Question, yes.
Yes?
I'd like to know, you said lots of important old people used to play this appellate.
Yes.
What I'd like to know is that in Korea here, normally men play this wind instrument. Is it so in your country?
Yes.
So there is no female player?
No female players.
Why is it so?
Yes, if we had time, I could talk for 3 days on this instrument, but we don't have time. In this recording, this videotape, that's why I wanted to edit one so you can play it at your video. Yes. You see, in this, I asked that question. Before, when I started the study, I was not even allowed to touch the instrument. But now, with this
But
boy,
I guess you are
he
teaching
went to
this
school.
instrument.
He allowed me to touch it. He even allowed me to try it. And he says, now I can play. And he would teach me. But when I tried, I couldn't make a sound out of it. And he said, you are a woman.
여자는 원래 손을 안 대지 말아야 했던 악기고요. 근데 이 젊은 친구는 가르치기도 해줬고 처음에 만졌을 때 소리 못 내니까 당신은 여자이기 때문에 소리를 못 내는 거라는 말을 들었다고 합니다.
So, if you look at the exhibition down, you find a group of boys with him. And those boys are now learning because where he comes from, fortunately for the people of Nigeria and Africa, where he comes from, his ethnic village, anything you know that is good, you must teach everybody. You are not supposed, before they kept the knowledge to themselves. Even nobody I know has passed it on to the child. But now, because of the local rule of the boy's village, he is He's teaching about 20 people. You saw a group photograph with him in the center at the exhibition. All of them are now learning to dance, to play that instrument. And the dance situation in which akpele is used is for all ages. Old people.
나이 관계없이요.
Old age, middle age, and even the young. You see that little girl, and she dances well, I tell you.
네, 나이에 관계없이 아펠레 연주되는 그 춤은 누구나 배울 수 있는 겁니다.
So we will play the tape so that you have a benefit of the contextual use of this instrument in the dance situation. That is the musical
춤
situation.
상황에서의
May I ask you, Josephine?
Yes, yes.
The akbela is just a rhythmic instrument.
Yes, it is. It has two tones. But those two tones are manipulated to form, and then they use the speech voice. Yes, the speech voice to talk. What he's playing now, he's talking, he's saying something.
Did you
Yes.
hear that?
That is the boy. Emeka is his name. He's from a village called Obompa. Obompa. He is also a traditional doctor. We want to see the dance. Let's see. Put the lights on. Let's wind forward.
제일 왼쪽 불감 잠깐만 켜주시겠어요?
You can stand up and do it. Let's go forward. Backwards. Forward. You can clap any of the rhythms you hear, any one you identify. It's in 12/8. What is the
8분의 12, 8분의 12박자인데요. 자기가 알아챌 수 있는 박자가 있으면 따라
forward? So that's what it seems like, isn't it? Everybody clap that. Yeah, but if you listen, there are different rhythms that result in this one line. When you listen, you can clap it. Yes. Okay. Play that. Put on the light. And you can see the instruments that go with it. This pointer. It's a wooden block. Just a wooden block the size of this. And of course you recognize the god rattle. This is a musical pot. It's an aerophone too. As well as an idiophone because it's the air. You blow the air into to produce sound. But because it's struck, we classify it as idiophone. Yes, that's the dance. It is the sound of the akpele that's making her dance. It's praising her. Say, Onuwa, you're a pretty girl. You can dance well. Come on, do it. Do it. That's what it's saying. You see? You see? Come on, come on, come on, come on. A cadence. Cadential formula. So she knows when it's getting there, it's to stop, to take a break. Then it starts warming up again. Someone else has come in. one with tattoos. That is supplication to God. See, that's how to, they embrace each other to say you have done well. Can you hear the appellate?
Yes.
The man is a multi-instrumentalist. Usually every appella player has his own group in the house. So they play all the instruments. You look at that slugger. So it's a form of music education, an informal education through music. And that's a teenage schoolgirl